History is full of tales of people taking a journey for some spiritual reason or for some deeply personal reason to learn something about themselves. It could be Huckleberry Finn on the Mississippi, it can be a pilgrimage to Mecca, it can be, you know, the pioneers crossing the Old West. Sometimes you don't even know exactly where you're going or when you're going to get there, or if you're going to get there at all, or if you're going to survive.
What makes people reach the state of emotional extremes, such that even grown men who haven't cried in 20 years will cry and break down, it is the physical, emotional stress. It takes you to the absolute limit and then beyond.
One kick.
There is no way these people are normal. They are the seekers of the new realm or plane. It's not a sporting event in the classic sense. It's more of sending a gladiator into a pit with a lion. Death is a part of it. It's a horrifying part of it. People are willing to risk it for the rewards.
Kipling said that unless you have been in the pit, you will never know the pleasure of having reached the summit. You'll come over a mountain crest and see something of just such intense beauty that you can have this epiphany. In the midst of all the pain, you can have these really beautiful epiphanies that stay with you for the rest of your life. The biggest fear most of the people have in this race is of not finishing. Nobody shows up at this race thinking they're going to have to quit, and yet half the people in the solo division do end up having to quit. You know what the thing about endurance sports is? A lot of people accuse those people in the 60s of having false experiences and they weren't real. And the thing is, when you ride your bike across America and you go through these changes of consciousness, oh, it's real. You really are on the bike. You really are descending this 10,000-foot peak at 50 miles an hour and a 25-degree wind chill. And when you feel really dehydrated in the desert, you're not dreaming it. You're really in the desert getting really dehydrated. That's what I like about endurance sports. Yeah, it's a lot of changes in consciousness, but it's not just consciousness, it's for real. Lance Armstrong said that endurance athletes are running away from something inside of themselves, and that's one of the reasons that they do what they do. You're both running away from it, but when you do endurance sports, you're also having to face all of your deepest fears. When you're out there on the bike for a long time and things aren't going well, things in your subconscious from your past just kind of come before your eyes. And you have to deal with that, and you have to get past that. My word for it is a controlled breaking down. Can you stay on a bike and continue pedaling even if you're crying like a baby, even if you hurt, or even if you don't really know what direction you're going in. Those are the people who finish with good times here. And even if you're just a couch potato, even if you're born rich and privileged, things are not going to turn out the way you wanted, and that can be emotional, physical, or mental. All the great world religions have some character that goes through a great deal of suffering and gains some sort of spiritual advancement from that suffering. The nature of human life is suffering, and the way we deal with that and how we overcome with that and grow is, the so-called, quote, successful people and the unsuccessful people. My mind and my body are going to go places they've never been, and I have no idea what is going to happen. And that's really the beauty of it, the fact that it's mysterious and it's a little frightening.
I think it's about the connections that you have with people. That's what you feel out here.
Well, the longer you're out here, the more it is, yeah. Because you're totally disconnected with yourself. You have to lose yourself to find yourself. And myself is about 2/3 lost about now.
Why do you have to disconnect with yourself?
Because the personal ego doesn't like pain. And it doesn't like mundane, repetitive things. It just wants glory and gratification. And there ain't much of that out here. Only 1/3 of the way into the race. There's just an endless expanse of nothing, really. But the land of America itself is beyond human cognition. I mean, these mountains and valleys and deserts and rivers. It's scary though, Manny. That's your real opponent here. It's not really any other rider or even the voices in your head. The only thing that you're here to conquer is the land. I mean, you got to get across the land. And it doesn't care who you are. The mountains don't care how hard you train. They've been here for millions of years. They'll be here millions of years after we're all gone. They just sit there and watch.